don't want to pick that up now. All right. We're here. It's Conference Championship Sunday, the NFL, and I'm very excited for it because we got two matchups that almost dropped my phone. We got two matchups that honestly we should have expected to see, given that in the AFC, the Ravens have been the best team in the league, especially ever since they smashed the Niners on Christmas, giving me the best Christmas gift ever and proving my point about Brock Purdy. I love it. And then you had the Chiefs, where it's like, yeah, they look shaky at times, but Mahomes is their quarterback. Andy Reid is their head coach. They're going to figure something out for the playoffs, and that's what they did last week. And then you have the NFC, where it's like the Lions and Niners have both been two of the best teams in the NFC pretty much all year long. And we should have had them on a collision course, but we got tricked by the Cowboys again. Some people kind of believe that the Eagles could get right towards playoff time, one of those people being me. So it's like, yeah, but we're here. And we're coming off actually a very good divisional round weekend. Like, there was only one game that was kind of a blowout, and even that game was kind of compelling from start to finish. And I'm talking about the Ravens and Texans game. The Ravens, I don't want to say they dominated from wire to wire, but the second half they dominated, and the first half was just a really closely contested game because the Texans are a pretty good team. And then that night, you had the 49ers and Packers game. I wasn't able to give a recap to that game because I was having some fun after the game. But that was an amazing game that honestly the Packers should have won because Brock Purdy kept on trying to give the ball up. And Jordan Love channeled his inner Brett Favre and threw across his body with 2 timeouts remaining at a point in time where you didn't need to press the ball downfield, but he felt the need to. I mean, and it sucks because Jordan Love actually played a really, really good game and has had a really good season. But now that's all been tainted because he made that decision. And then on Sunday, you had the Lions and the Bucks, which was surprisingly a thriller, like all the way down to the end, which even featured a controversial ending because the Lions snapped it so soon and the Bucks had timeouts that if they really wanted to, they could have called a timeout, got the ball back with some sort of Hail Mary chance to win the game or put it to overtime, and they didn't decide to do that, but that was a really good game. And then you had the best game of the weekend and one of the best playoff games I've seen since the last time these two teams played in the Chiefs and Bills game, which was just spectacular. I mean, the quarterback play wasn't like the last time these two teams played in the playoffs. Like, it wasn't the most amazing thing I've ever seen, but it was really, really good. And these were just two really good teams duking it out, and it was so sad that the Bills had to lose because they played good enough to win. Both those teams did. So, yeah, coming off of a really good divisional weekend, I expect a big weekend, a big Sunday for Conference Championship Sunday. And it's kind of sad because now it's really sinking in that we're going to be without football very soon. And, yes, I love the NBA, but football is different, man. It's different. But let's get into these matchups, of course, in chronological order. All right, first up is what should be the best game of this weekend and the most highly anticipated game out of these two very much highly anticipated games. Like, I expect both of these games to be good games. Let me just make that clear. But the Chiefs going to the Ravens, honestly, in my opinion, the winner of this game, I will favor in the Super Bowl because I think the AFC is just by far the best conference in football. So it makes sense that whoever wins the AFC will most likely be favored in the Super Bowl. And I know this game is being broadcasted and highlighted and promoted as Lamar versus Mahomes, but it's much more than that. Like, honestly, I know these are two of the best quarterbacks in the league. And honestly, whoever wins this game will be crowned the best quarterback for this season, and rightfully so, but it's more than that. In all honesty, it's the best team in the league versus the best player in the league. Like, this Ravens team is so good, and it's kind of flown under the radar how sneaky good they are. I mean, if you look at the games they lost, every single game they lost, they really should have won. And I know you can say that about a lot of teams, but honestly, you can't. Like, even look at, like, the Niners, the Chiefs, the Lions, the 3 other teams remaining. they've all been blown out at certain points of this season. And the two teams in the NFC got handled by the Ravens. This is the best team in the league versus the best player. But it does have a lot of questions under that and a lot of other underlying factors that will determine who wins this game. And in all honesty, I'm just gonna keep it a buck. I'm picking the Ravens. Like I don't see it's very hard for me to see a way the Chiefs win this game. Like I know quarterback play matters, and I always say it comes down to the QBs, but the Ravens are so good and Lamar's playing so well that he can duel Mahomes at this point in time. He is good enough and the team is good enough for him to have a chance to do that. Now, for the Chiefs to win this game, they got to do much better against the run than they did last week. Last week, the Bills rushed for 182 yards. And honestly, it felt like over 200. Like there was, especially early in the game, it's like they were just getting chunks. James Cook, Ty Johnson, their backup, and Josh Allen himself was the leading rusher, rushing for 72 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson and this Ravens offense will kill you running the ball if you do what you did last Sunday because they are a much better running team than the Bills. Their offensive line is much better, and Lamar Jackson is the best running quarterback we've ever seen. So they're going to have to find a way to hunker down on the run and not give up over 180 yards. Because to me, if the Bills ran for 182, there's no doubt in my mind that the Ravens can't rush for 200 yards. Like that's a possibility this game. For the Chiefs to win, they have to figure out some way to stop the run or at least slow it down. And also, I've seen reports where the Ravens are actually optimistic that Mark Andrews plays. And if he plays in this game, the Ravens offense should be unstoppable. Like, there's something to be said about a team having 2 legitimate receiving threats at tight end, like Isaiah Likely, who is someone I liked ever since he was drafted. Funny what I did there. And like back at Coastal Carolina, he was the man. Like they had that man running screens and like he was a wide receiver and sometimes handing him the ball like he was a running back. And he's been so good ever since Mark Andrews got hurt that if Mark Andrews comes back and he's even slightly healthy and you can have them both on the field, that's a problem. Because you can run and pass out of that 2 tight end set because Mark Andrews can run block and so can Isaiah Likely. But they're also 2 legitimate receiving threats that are mismatched nightmares for smaller DBs, given how big they are. And then also in Isaiah Likely's case, how freakishly athletic he is. And Mark Andrews is very athletic too. Like Mark Andrews is, I think, really underrated for what he is as a tight end. Like to me, he is a top 2, top 3 tight end in this league, and I don't think that should be debated about. It should just be debated about where he falls in that top 3. Like he has been so good for Lamar, and if they get him back, Lamar's safety net, it's scary. Now, also for the Chiefs to win this game, Mahomes will have to be Jesus Christ, and Andy Reid and Matt Nagy will have to put on a clinic like they did last week. And if you watch the Chiefs game from last week, what the Chiefs did against the Bills is they had so many different formations, so many motions, so many shifts that fucked with the Bills because the Bills are a team that they run what they run and it's very hard to get them out of that. And one thing about football is it's like you have to be able to match formations. And what the Chiefs were doing is they were picking on the nickels and they were just picking and poking at the weaknesses of that Bills defense. Now, in all honesty, the Ravens defense has a lot less holes because of how multiple they are at every position and how much a guy like Kyle Hamilton changes the game because he can play at slot corner, free safety, strong safety, and linebacker. Like he is a matchup nightmare. So it's like it's going to be much harder to find those matchups and like run at DBs given how good the Ravens DBs are at tackling. But Matt Nagy and Andy Reid are going to have to do exactly what they did last week. I mean, not exactly, but have the same amount of creativity. Call the game extraordinarily because this defense is so good. And on top of that, on top of already having to call a good game, Mahomes is going to have to be Jesus Christ. Like, he's going to have to cook. He's going to have to be the GOAT. Because in my opinion, and me personally, Mahomes is the best quarterback I've ever seen play football, and I don't think there's another quarterback touching him in terms of raw talent and what he's been able to do with that talent. So he's going to have to play amazing because his defense is so good, man. Like, the Ravens are so good against stopping the run, and last week, Pacheco was able to run for like 97 yards, and that really opened up this offense for the Chiefs. And there is a strong part of me that believes that he will not be able to have that same success given how good that defensive line is and how good those linebackers are. I cannot stress how good of a linebacker tandem they got in Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen. Like, it should be illegal that they have those two next to each other roaming the middle. I mean, you saw how hard it was for the Texans to establish a run in that game. And Devin Singletary has been playing like one of the best backs in the NFL this like set in the second half of the year. And the Ravens said, nah, you're not running the ball. So Mahomes is going to have to play really, really well. And Matt Nagy and Andy Reid are going to have to call an exceptional, extraordinary game. And then also, can Travis Kelce turn the clock back? Towards the end of the season, Travis Kelce was like looking like he fell off a cliff. But then last week, he came back alive, having 5 catches for 75 yards and 2 touchdowns. He needs to be Patrick Mahomes' safety valve in this game, given how unreliable all his other weapons can be at times. Like, I know Rashid Rice has shown all the flashes to be a really, really good receiver in this league, but he's still a rookie, and this is still the playoffs. You need that. Patrick Mahomes needs his safety valve, and he needs Travis Kelce to be there. Lucky for the Chiefs, Travis Kelce is low-key one of the best receiving, like, playoff performers at receiver and tight end that we have ever seen if you just look at the numbers. Like, he's dangerously close to breaking 2 of Jerry Rice's records, and if you're breaking a Jerry Rice record, you're doing something right. Like, that is crazy. And I know I've talked a lot about the Chiefs, and it's mainly because a lot will have to go right for the Chiefs to win this game. Because I told my dad last week, who is a huge Chiefs fan, that the Chiefs-Bills game was just playing for second place in the AFC. The Ravens are so fucking good that I have so much faith in them to pull this game out. And I think it's going to take a lot for the Chiefs to win this game. But I also said last week that the Chiefs play like a team that we have not seen many times this season. Like, they played their best game last week. And I've compared this Chiefs team to those Brady Belichick Patriots that may not have been the most talented team, but somehow, some way, they found a way to make it to the Super Bowl and win a few in years that they probably shouldn't have. So it's like, I'm kind of getting that vibe, but I'm still taking the Ravens. They're too good. Their defense is prepared, and they are so well coached and also talented at almost every level of that defense. And then offensively for the Ravens, Lamar Jackson's playing out of his mind. He knows what's at stake. You saw that sense of urgency last week. You saw it, and I believe we'll see it again. And I'm hoping we get a legendary Lamar and Mahomes duel in the playoffs. Like, I need that. That's enough about the AFC. Let's talk about the NFC, which should also not be a bad game. And we had the Lions going to the Niners. And in all honesty, for the most part, I saw the NFC as like the 49ers to lose. But this is a more winnable game than I thought for the Lions. Because in all honesty, I based a lot about what I thought about the NFC Championship based off whatever happened in that Packers-Niners game. And in all honesty, the Niners should have lost that game. Like, Brock Purdy had a few passes, but mainly 2 that he was trying to give to the Packers. And the Packers just said, nah, I'm good. And then also, we're like a Jordan Love boneheaded pick away from having the NFC Championship game in Detroit. Now, personally, I still think the 49ers will win this game because they are so talented, and I trust this coaching staff to have these boys ready. And a small part of me, even though while I'm fully on this Lions narcotic, like, I want to see them in the Super Bowl, but a small part of me understands that it does take some time, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's just not their year, but a year like next year is, when this young team gets a little bit older. They're able to add a little bit more pieces in the offseason and the draft to really build this team out completely, but they still have a chance. And for the Lions to win this game, this is going to have to be a Ben Johnson game. The Lions to me have more weapons than the Packers, while the Packers, in my eyes, have a better quarterback. To me personally, the Packers had a lot of success offensively. They didn't always capitalize off that success, and they were able to run the ball very well. And to me, the Niners defense isn't the Niners defense of the past where it's like this unstoppable force. Like you have to be very, very nervous playing this defense. There's weaknesses. There's ways to pick and poke at them. There's ways to get at the secondary. You're able to run the ball against them. And I think if Ben Johnson calls a good enough game and Jared Goff doesn't turn the ball over, the Lions have a huge chance in this game because they have the running backs to be able to run the ball. David Montgomery is a very, very good back, and it was low-key one of the best offseason pickups of this team. And then Jahmyr Gibbs was a pick that a lot of people's like, I don't understand. He is so fun to watch. So it's like the Lions have what it takes to score on this defense. And honestly, this game just comes down to quarterback play. Like, even for the Niners, like if the Lions are unlike the Packers are able to actually capitalize and take the ball away when Brock Purdy gives it to them, the Niners will be in trouble. And like I've seen all these things this week about like the whole Brock Purdy thing and whether he's that good. And like I said, I believe he's a starting quarterback in this league. He's just not as good as we want to give him credit for. And it's kind of because he is wheeling and dealing to some of the best weapons in the league and has one of the best offensive minds as a head coach that literally spoon feeds him yards and easy completions. And that's not a bad thing, but that's just the reality of the situation. Like last week, yes, Brock Purdy played well on that last drive, but that was a Christian McCaffrey drive. Like let's tell it how it is. Christian McCaffrey is the engine of this football team. The Niners go as far as Christian McCaffrey will take them. And in this game, I don't know if the Lions can stop Christian McCaffrey because I only think there's one team in the NFL that can stop Christian McCaffrey, and we all know who I believe that is. I'd be on the Ravens too much to bring them up again. Oh, I just did it. But it goes as far as Christian McCaffrey can take them, and I believe Christian McCaffrey will have him another really, really good game because I don't know if this Lions defense can really stop him, especially in a game where Brock Purdy doesn't turn the ball over and they're able to be as multiple as they always are. And George Kittle's able to bust out a few plays like he did against the Packers. That long touchdown he had, I mean, he had two of them things, I'm pretty sure. So it's like, I had the Niners winning. It all honestly comes down to quarterback decision making and if the Lions are able to stop Christian McCaffrey. That's what it comes down to with the Niners. If you're able to stop Christian McCaffrey, you can beat this team. If you're not, it's going to be really, really hard to beat this team and especially hard to stop their offense. So I have the 49ers winning the NFC and I have the Ravens winning the AFC. I don't think that's like a controversial take because we've all saw this collision course ever since that game they played on Christmas and even before that. So, yeah. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know down in the comments below who do you think will win these games? Who are the X factors? Do you think I'm wrong? If you think I'm wrong, explain to me why I'm wrong. If you think I'm right, just be on my side. Blindly follow me. I wouldn't mind that. But with that being said, I love y'all. Hopefully y'all have a good day or had a good day. Peace.